This video is from mainland China. Judging from the interior decoration, it seems like a respectable family. The woman who posted the video says her husband has been unemployed for several days. The family faces the pressure of a high mortgage, so the husband is extremely anxious, like sitting on a volcano. The wife tells her husband, "You need to hurry up and find a job." These simple words completely ignite the husband's anger. He smashes things in the house and slams the door shut. This is the story unfolding in countless ordinary Chinese families today. Meanwhile, the 7-piece set for middle-class bankruptcy has recently become a trending topic on the Chinese internet. On June 7th of this year, this topic sparked heated discussion again, trending on Weibo. In this episode, let's take a look at the rapidly disappearing Chinese middle class. In 2024, the CCP claimed that the country's middle-income group had reached 400 million. This statement sparked controversy at the time, with some questioning why, given that there were 400 million middle-income earners, consumption wasn't being stimulated. By 2026, even ordinary Chinese people have realized that they are slipping from the so-called middle class. On June 7th of this year, Yu Bin, a prominent Weibo user and author of a top-ranked article on Chinese online media, posted, "We are about to witness history again. The speed of bankruptcy among middle-class families is accelerating at an unprecedented rate. The familiar 3 pieces of bankruptcy, a mortgage, a wife not working, and children attending international schools is no longer sufficient. The bankruptcy formula has now evolved from 3 pieces to 7. Yu Bin listed the 7 pieces of middle-class bankruptcy as reckless entrepreneurship, high mortgage debt, a spouse staying home full-time to care for children, relentlessly pushing children to attend numerous tutoring classes, blindly increasing educational pressure, making reckless investments, neglecting personal health, and engaging in competitive consumption." This topic resonated with netizens, sparking heated online discussions. Now, the 3 pieces have been upgraded to 7. This means that the number of high-risk behaviors leading to the financial collapse of middle-class families in China has increased, escalating from 3 major categories to 7, becoming a financial minefield that contemporary middle-class families need to be wary of. These 7 combinations of high-risk behaviors which can severely diminish the wealth of middle-class families or even cause them to fall back into poverty collectively reflect the financial anxiety of a specific group against the backdrop of economic fluctuations. Another Weibo blogger expressed strong resonance with this sentiment. What does this mean? Simply put, whether you earn 5,200 a month or millions of RMB a year, there are always traps designed to prey on ordinary people, quietly waiting for you to fall into them. Let me tell you a real-life example and you'll understand how serious this is. According to the latest survey, 78% of middle-class families have guessed at least 3 of these major traps, and a staggering 92% of families have fallen into 5 or more traps simultaneously. Within 3 years, they all encountered serious financial troubles. What's most frightening is that before these families ran into trouble, they all felt their lives were stable and their finances were perfectly sound. Another blogger commented on this topic. Wealth is accumulated through luck, but preserved through knowledge. Making quick money requires courage, but preserving money requires intelligence. Indeed, it's incredibly difficult for middle-class families to hold on to their money these days. I'm 32 years old, $74,000 in debt, unemployed for 6 months, and I feel like a complete failure. In 2020, I opened 2 real estate companies, but the pandemic hit less than a year into operation. The real estate market has been declining for the past few years. I held on for 4 years, but couldn't keep going. I closed down in the first half of the year, burdened with debt. I started to escape, pretending to work hard every day. I began spending my time in internet cafes. I hadn't been to an internet cafe in 8 years, but now I'm wasting my time here. Our monthly spending is around $20. I'll make some minced meat and tofu for the whole family. My son really went too far today. He said he did well on his exam and kept pestering me to buy him milk tea. I'm speechless. All he thinks about is food and drink. Although we're a well-off family, if he keeps squandering like this, he'll eventually lose everything. He doesn't understand savings at all. I've told him 800 times not to spend money on things he shouldn't. My son says I'm stingy and that he won't give me a penny when he grows up. His words really hurt me.
37岁失业了。
37 years old, unemployed. Today is my last day at work. The company went bankrupt. I'm in Shenzhen with a mortgage and a child, and I'm really panicking. This is the company I've worked for the longest since graduation, in the children's sports industry. A salary that could support my family, no 996 work schedule, and weekends to take my child to the park. This stability was my only source of confidence against anxiety in Shenzhen. Actually, I predicted half a year ago that the founder wouldn't invest anymore after this year. The saying 7 pieces of bankruptcy for the middle class has recently evolved into a 9-piece set. This evolution isn't a rigorous economic report, but rather reflects the sharp contradiction perceived by China's middle class. Stagnant income, inflated expenses, and weak risk resistance. The core of these 7 pieces lies in high debt, single source of income, and blind optimism. Born in 1984, 42 years old, unemployed for 3 years, drifting aimlessly. At first, I was glad I could finally relax and rest, so I wasn't in a hurry to find a job. After all, with so many years of experience, finding a job shouldn't be difficult. But unexpectedly, as time went on, I was always rejected because of my age, hitting walls everywhere. As my meager savings dwindled, I started to feel anxious and increasingly restless. Moreover, I had 4 elderly parents to support, 2 kids to raise, and a wife to feed. Why is risk awareness so weak among China's middle class? With China's economy rising for over 30 years under the deliberate guidance of the CCP, many Chinese people are imbued with a mindset that encourages them to take risks to get rich. They are accustomed to using high leverage to imitate lifestyles beyond their means. Influenced by closed information system and the CCP's propaganda of a bright economy, many middle-class families are too slow to realize that China's real estate Ponzi scheme bubble is about to burst, and are unaware that China's population has already declined significantly. And the national economic environment has shaken China's status as the world's factory. All of this makes these middle-class families extremely financially vulnerable. Once income fluctuates, the chain collapses. They don't realize that the economic downturn, the difficulty of making money in recent years, and the increasing difficulty in the future. And by this time, many of these middle-class families are already middle-aged. At 37, I resigned from my position as a mid-level deputy general manager in a state-owned enterprise. After 16 years in the industry, I quit without a backup plan. Today is my 58th day of unemployment. My emotions have been like a roller coaster for the past 2 months. For the first few days, I slept well and felt finally free. But after a few days, I started to feel anxious, often waking up at 3 a.m. and staring at the ceiling until dawn. Working in IT in middle age, it turns out I'm not the only one who finds it so difficult. I've been semi-unemployed for 2.5 months. To be honest, I've basically wasted these days, not earning any money. All our post-80s generation, this age group, especially those in IT, or rather most people in my social circle, faces the same dilemma. Anxiety. The industry environment is what it is, and they're stuck at this age. Honestly, they're stuck in the middle, wanting to take risks but lacking the confidence, wanting to lie flat but unable to. After 2 months of unemployment at 36, I finally understand how difficult it is to find a job in middle age. It's no longer about whether I can find a suitable job. Often, I don't even get an interview. When I first lost my job, I wanted a job with weekends off and a normal salary. Now, I'm willing to take a pay cut, accept 1 day off a week, and accept overtime. My only requirements are Social Security and a somewhat stable job. But the reality is that positions I used to look down on are now incredibly rare. No interview opportunities. A few days ago, I went for an interview at a company, a 1.5-hour drive each way. The interviewer looked at my portfolio for 5 minutes and said I wasn't a good fit. By the time China's middle class realizes the reality, it's too late. They see their property values rapidly shrinking, stocks plummeting, even popular internet giants laying off employees, and the service industry suffering even more. For example, restaurant owners lose everything. By then, it's too late to find remedies. Our home might not sell. We were laid off and lost our jobs in April. We have a fixed monthly mortgage payment and have to cover Social Security expenses ourselves. The pressure is mounting, and after much deliberation, we finally decided to list the condo on the market. However, the property has been listed for several months and there have been very few inquiries. The real estate agent keeps urging us to lower the price, which has dropped from the initial 900,000 yuan to the current 750,000 yuan. Looking back, we bought it for 1.5 million yuan, and with taxes and renovations, we've lost around $100,000. My husband got laid off. He'll officially be leaving tomorrow. This round of layoffs at his company was really sudden. He's been working at this company for almost 6 years of his 10 years in Beijing. You could say he spent most of his youth here. Yesterday, he was notified of the layoff. When I went to pick him up from the company, he seemed calm, but I could sense that he was actually very sad. He'll be home a little late today. He's having dinner with a few colleagues he gets along with well. I used to have a balance left over after paying off the mortgage on the condo I bought before we got married, which I could use to prepay the loan. Now my husband's salary has been cut, and my remaining balance has to be used to supplement household expenses. My husband is very anxious, saying that driving to and from work is quite long, so he might as well take delivery orders from SF Express. After taking orders, he has to get up at 5:30 or 6 a.m. and doesn't get home until 10 p.m. When he gets home, he doesn't even take off his clothes. He lies in bed, saying my eyes hurt, and falls asleep from exhaustion. He is doing 2 jobs a day, and the money from the deliveries goes into a shared account. After 2 months, we have actually saved $520. Compared to the mortgage, this money is a drop in the ocean, but it's at least some extra income. It's really not easy for ordinary people to settle down in Beijing. Everyone says that taking the postgraduate entrance exam is the best shortcut to turning your life around for ordinary people. It wasn't until all my postgraduate roommates lost their jobs that I realized how cruel society can be. My roommate at the tutoring institution is willing to lower her standards and has recently started competing with that college graduate for some clerical positions. But the HR says they don't dare hire her, fearing she's unstable because of her higher education. Another point is that she's unmarried and childless. The funny thing is, a friend of mine in Beijing is just running an ordinary game company, and he even received applications from Tsinghua University. He said he didn't even dare to call and extend an interview. China's first-tier cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, were once the cities where countless people striving to change their fate fought, and many indeed found a sense of middle-class life there. Because of the CCP's strict household registration system, these outsiders call themselves drifters. As we enter 2026, many drifters look back at their experiences in these first-tier cities like a dream. They gained and then they lost it all. My husband was laid off. We left our hometown in Hebei to return to Beijing to continue our Beijing drifting life. Now we are both unemployed. We don't have time to dwell on internal conflicts. We must calm down and seriously plan for our future. This morning, I saw my husband already sitting in front of the computer, rushing to send out resumes and look for jobs. The overall outlook for the internet industry is not very optimistic right now, and we must prepare for the worst. If we can't find suitable work for a long time, we will have to consider changing careers. A 211 University Master's graduate, a Beijing drifter, earning a little around $700 a month, living paycheck to paycheck. Today, my understanding of layoffs has reached a new level. Many companies have already started reducing salaries. Reducing salaries before layoffs significantly lowers their costs. Even with an N+1 severance pay, it will be much less. Furthermore, many people will resign due to salary reductions during this period, further reducing their costs. The couple, post-1990s Beijing drifters, returned to our hometown in Hebei after losing our jobs. The younger brother, who is also still drifting in Beijing, recently had his salary reduced. He came back for the May Day holiday and arrived this afternoon. I went to the train station to pick him up. We are 10 years apart. He's 25 this year. Coincidentally, he also works in advertising. Sometimes I feel that the whole family shouldn't be stuck in the same industry. If things go wrong, the whole family suffers. After meeting him, I learned that his department had laid off half its staff, and we had only taken a pay cut, which he considered lucky. At 25, he earns $2,000 a month, and much more than I did at his age. Currently, he doesn't plan to change jobs because the overall economic situation is bad, and even if he did, he might not earn more. After 5 years of living in Beijing, I've encountered a salary cut and the struggle for survival. My salary used to be over $1,400, but now it's down to only $620 after taxes. I come from a rural area in Tailing. I came to the international metropolis of Beijing from my village filled with joy and pride. I used to earn over $1,400 a month, and I thought that after a few years here, I could save enough money to go back home. But now my salary is even less than it was back home, because back home I don't have to pay high rent. Now my take-home pay is only $620, while rent is $280. Now, more and more Chinese people are starting to discuss the middle-income trap, which refers to the phenomenon where a country, after reaching a middle-income level due to advantages such as cheap labor, experiences insufficient economic growth, leading to a long-term stagnation of income and preventing it from smoothly transitioning to a high-income economy. This concept was first proposed by the World Bank in 2007. So, under the rule of the CCP, is it possible for China to overcome this middle-income trap? Many middle-class Chinese, now at their lowest point, still hold on to their previous fighting spirit, hoping for a brighter future. It's only in middle age that one truly realizes that the most reliable way out of a low point is never relying on others, but on oneself to slowly rise again. We, the post-80s generation, lives lives filled with trivialities, experiencing unemployment and debt. The older people get, the less genuine understanding they can give to our difficulties. We have to swallow all of our grievances and digest them ourselves. After losing my job, I bravely ventured into self-media. The growth and hardships along the way have taught me that from today onwards, the past is behind us. We should stop denying ourselves. Let's summon our daring and fighting spirit and just do it. Individual fates differ, but overall, we feel pessimistic. Whether China can escape the middle-income trap is a complex issue that we will discuss in detail in future videos. Here, in short, we believe it's impossible. Mainland China, Taiwan, and South Korea all share similarities. Hard-working people with strong entrepreneurial spirit and robust economic drive. China adopted the Japanese model, the East Asian model, relying on exports in Western markets to drive economic growth. However, China's failure lies in severe social inequality, with a huge wealth gap and significant regional disparities. This disparity leads to social instability. Because the CCP relies on officials at various levels of government to implement reforms that benefit the lower classes at the expenses of the higher-ups. These officials must sacrifice their own interests to increase benefits for ordinary people. This is something they are willing to do, nor is it possible within the system itself. This is a fatal flaw of authoritarian systems. They cannot resolve contradictions, and these contradictions are unhealable. When these contradictions erupt and the economy declines, those in power will further sacrifice the lower classes to benefit the higher-ups, ensuring their own interests. This, of course, leads to an even worse outcome, a vicious cycle. That's all for today. If you enjoy our content, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with a friend. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you next time.